Hello, CraftyAndy here, and these are my thoughts. I recently made a video about kink and pride, briefly mentioning the types of people who tend to be very outspokenly moral, usually are like that to try to make up for some damning flaw in their character or past that they don't want to address, be exposed, or take responsibility for. And that's why it's always good to question those who are very almost irrational when it comes to their hatred upon some other group, no matter what that group is. Even if it is like a heinous type of person, there comes a point where you have to ask yourself, what is this person making up for? That's linked down below, along with several other videos I'll go over. Sure enough, this whole situation involving Creepshow Art came up, and before I even started to get a grip on that situation, another rabbit hole involving the Skyhouse came into my feed. Alright, so briefly, Creepshow Art was a video maker that often would call out individuals from either being a bigot to just an all-out rapist, or a stealer of art. She would jump on the bandwagon of shitting on others without caring for things like nuance or foresight.
The only time I knew about her, she made one really nasty video about me and Trisha.
Really?
Where she said that, like, we had planned. It was just super bizarre because she like made this claim like it was factual without any evidence. She goes, Ethan and Trisha are faking the drama and the relationship with Moses isn't real. And I know this. And they go, and the title of the video was like, H3 has fallen so far. And it was about how me and Trisha are faking everything. And I was like, girl, this shit is real, as real as it gets.
All the while posting negative things on forums such as Locale, which I thought was a spawn from Kiwi Farms, but no, apparently Locale is where you go to after you get banned from Kiwi Farms. I didn't think that was fucking possible outside of just spamming a bunch of shit on there. Anywho, she would go on this place and post about people who were supposedly her friends and support group. Also, at the same time, she was being complacent or complicit in her husband's stalking of another artist that took place over the course of 10 years.
I have been making art content here on YouTube for the past 6 years. For the majority of those 6 years and several years prior, I had been facing stalking, harassment, and threats from one very recognizable source. My stalker is Shannon, better known as Creepshow Art, and what I believe to be her current husband, Anthony Parker, who is also my abusive ex-partner. This has been my life. This has been the thing that has terrified me, that has kept me up at night. It was incredibly difficult, but also incredibly cathartic. And Shannon, Anthony, if you're watching this, you have no idea what you guys have done to me.
Skyhouse involved an individual named Sky who led a bunch of people he thought were friends to live in his mansion. As part of a Super Smash Bros. Fight team of some sort, it seems, he was accused of being a predator, had his corpse of a reputation dragged through the public square, only to ultimately turn out that the accusations were exaggerated at best and untrue at worst, being confirmed by multiple third parties and contradictory statements from the accuser.
On July 5th, Jisoo would release a 64-page document.
My big 64-page Google document, which I'm sure not everybody absorbed every point from.
Wait, that doesn't look right. Scratch that. 58-page document. I forgot she had to go back and remove one of the stories because it ended up being a lie she propagated without anyone's approval or consent.
I linked the lengthy videos that cover both of these topics in detail, and me being fascinated with human behavior, I feel they are worth it. The one that stuck out to me, though, regarding Creepshow Art was Kate Blake's Getting Real About Creepshow Art.
And unfortunately, I think that a lot of the things that Creepshow Art did, a lot of the stuff that she created, was her latching on to certain conversations that definitely have some validity to them, to make herself look like a good person. And that super turns me off.
This shared a similar sentiment to me when it comes to these types of people, these moral crusaders. I didn't know the existence of Creepshow Art until it repeatedly started coming across my feed. I think it correlates, though, to something I have been saying over years. Much like how a dedicated homophobe often turns out to be gay themselves, similarly, it can be said about a lot of these people who perform being a good person all the time through their public works, or behavior on the outside. It doesn't even have to be online. Let me share with you a few real examples of this that I have. This was actually local, involving a man who we will call Charlie.
Charlie!
Charlie was offended that one of us didn't want to be part of his shitty car Telegram group, so what does he do? What any rational person does. Go to local meetups of furry groups and tell everyone that me and my mates are animal raping child predators.
Of course!
A real class act. We got word of this through the grapevine because there are meetups that we don't care to attend but our friends do. He was such a moral crusader about spreading the word of how bad we were, and yet he ended up going to jail for 4 years over CP possession. Oops. Now I have my problems with the legal system, and I know he didn't go to a place where they were even going to try and make him better. So of course when he got out early due to COVID, he just immediately tried to bait me and others into incriminating themselves through private messaging. It's just sad to me, and I'd rather this person leave me alone and move on. This is going on, all the while there is yet another performative moral crusader who continues to try and put Charlie back in jail through stalking and harassing, as far as I'm concerned, a person who has his own exposed skeleton spilling out of his closet. And yet somehow has the time to constantly try to figure out where this Charlie person is and try to nail him for something again. My point is this: be wary of people who are very performative in their supposed virtues. After catching up on a few of Creepshow Art's videos, it's pretty apparent she's just saying a bunch of obvious shit.
We're not a part of a society that raises people to think that is okay. We aren't living in a world where men and women are raised to think that is anything other than abuse.
With virtue signaling, we love raising awareness. Awareness is great because we never actually have to do anything.
I can do that right now. Bigotry is bad. I saw a person on Twitter who was bad, and I'm not saying to harass this person. Just here's their name, here's their address, and the school their kids attend to. Don't harass them though. Just don't. Don't. I'll give you another one. Don't. Here's all their information though, just so that you are aware. That's all I'm doing here. Rape is also bad, everybody. I just want to let you know that I am a strong opponent against rape. Boils my piss to know that there's a lot of people that are for it. But I'm not. Hashtag stop rape. If we get this video to 400 likes, we can stop rape, guys. Subscribe, we get to 100,000 subs, and that'll prove to me and the world, that YouTube is not full of tricky people.
You need to know who tricky people are and how to stay away from them. Knowledge is power.
Life is full of ironies, and I've found that the most good people I know are just good people. They don't go out of their way to announce it on megaphones. You want to be a good person? Just don't be an asshole.
If you're gonna do something good in real life, always post about it on the internet. Otherwise, what's the point? You know what I'm saying?
Am I qualified as such a good person? I don't fucking know. I don't have any rapes, murders, or stalking under my name. No one is perfect, and I'm not going to pretend to know for sure on anything of these incidents, such as Creepshow Art or the Skyhouse or any other incident, unless it involves a conviction and a confession, and probably a confession after they're released. That doesn't mean I may have my leanings on things based on presented evidence or accusations, but I'm tired of watching these things play out where you have a bunch of people that act like they're fucking expert CSI psychology wizards that throw perfect 20s on their perception rolls with just a -1 to relieve themselves of any responsibility if they end up spreading misleading information, exacerbating a situation that's not as bad as they want it to be, not being able to understand terms like keeping face in the public sphere, and thinking the only way to apologize or make up for something is to lose everything up to the point of suicide. And even that I've seen celebrated by some people. A lot of people on YouTube are just hated, that get to continue to make a living being a public entertainer still. I'm not going to take away someone's negative experience they have with someone else. I may be wary if there are some confirmations of destructive patterns of behavior, but I'm certainly not going to co-opt or rather appropriate someone's negative experience as if it were my own to get brownie points, unless they are some kind of close friend or relative of mine. It doesn't apply to everyone, but I wouldn't have the friends and experiences I have now over the years if I based prejudgments on social media posts from strangers or even just rumors I pick up through the atmosphere of going to conventions and parties. If you're a public figure long enough, no, scratch that. If you live long enough, first, the less innocent you'll be. Reason why most of the moral outrage accounts on Twitter are tied to teenagers and young adults, for instance. Unless you seal yourself away in a cave and never give any opinion on anything other than surface level critiques of entertainment media, someone is going to hate you. Someone is going to get jealous. Someone is going to have a bad impression of you at a party, a meetup, a convention. You might have a bad day of behavior. Say something you didn't mean. Say something that might be clipped out of context. Or rumors spread, and people expecting you to prove a negative. Prove to me that you do not stuff slugs up your butt. Prove to me that you do not put slugs up there. Prove it. Prove that you don't do that. You know, shit like that. It's inevitable. Now, my personal experience, I've been around catty people. I was a catty person at one point. I could see where it comes from too. If you're not allowed to be a teenager in high school, you don't sort of learn these sort of social cues and social behaviors to improve yourself. You kind of just exist and try to get through the day, leading to a lot of these immature people that are supposed to be adults, talking negatively about people that aren't even in the room, making fun of others. Only this time it's not to their face, it's behind their back. Now for me, it lasted for about several months, 10 years ago now. Didn't take long to second guess myself and keep my distance from people who actively troll and fuck with others beyond conversation, going after their jobs, harassing them through dummy accounts online. It doesn't look good in terms of being trustworthy, and you are in for a rude awakening if you think it's something good to brag about how you possibly drove someone into suicide. Like, who the fuck are you that justifies such a position to take? Now, lesser experiences with just picking up on things through the grapevine. It does give you a pretty shitty feeling to find out someone you give rides to, loan money to, lend them a shoulder to cry on, and then they have the goal to take a big fat steaming dump on you as soon as your back is turned. Or you have some kind of habit that they take note of so they can use that as a point of ridicule. And in the world of adults, oftentimes they aren't even willing to back this up face to face. Thankfully, it's not big enough that it's worth making a video about, but my least proud moments was when I was connecting with local people through the disdain and annoyances we had with others that in most cases we hung out with anyways. Instead of talking about topics of interest, ideas, or discussing a book or movie we experienced, Jesus, I understand now why people say get a life. Average people talk about things, great people talk about ideas, small people talk about other people. That being said though, do I have some stories to share involving some other people? Now, whatever. For far as I'm concerned, if they were never friends with me and I'll never likely see them again on top of that, so be it. I look at these experiences as life lessons or something that should be fun to share, not to name names, publicly shame them, and use it as a way to build up my own ego, tearing them down, or using it as a way to wag my finger like some kind of life coach on how to conduct yourself, as if I'm the moral compass of the universe. Hell, this internet game is just a lawn extension of high school to me. Looking at my numbers, I'm pretty much the equivalent of the times I sat alone at the end of the lunch table in middle school. At least here, no one can physically do anything to me. They can just call up the SWAT team and have other people do it for them.
Wichita police officers believe they were responding to a hostage situation when Andrew Fitch was shot dead after he appeared to be reaching for a weapon.
That aside, though, I do have others that I'm starting to interact with, and I feel like this can be an opportunity to finally be part of a team, thanks to one of my best friends, Tonto. My focus is on getting better at my craft, getting a children's book, a graphic novel made, and getting the few commissions I have finished, on top of being a Twitch partner on twitch.tv/CraftyAndy Live. I don't know how other people do it, but if I were to spend my days stirring up shit with others that I knew, posting anonymously on message boards, especially about people who are supposed to be my friend, I can't imagine how that would fit in with a full-time job, a family, and my business. It just screams road to Doomtown.
You know, if they took half of the time they spent plotting to mess with people, and, you know, I said this last week too, and do something good, do something creative, do something to help humanity instead of tearing it down, maybe the world would be a little better place.
What does it say about a person that does that, really? That you better watch your mouth around them, because they're going to use that as ammo against you later. It's really a disgusting and sad display, but it's also bewildering to me. I can't put my finger on it. I can't comprehend the thought process of, I don't like this person, so I'm going to post a picture of them online that's not supposed to be online, find out their address, post it on Encyclopedia Dramatica, Kiwi Farms, Lolcow, and then say it's their fault when people start calling into their job and their home and trying to fuck with their relationships and get them fired and fuck with their life. I don't understand it. I'm sure it's a simple explanation when you break it down on an individual basis. Going back to Creepshow Art, you have this influence, you have this power, you have this position, and this is what you fucking do with it? Why? Why? Why not just focus on being a better artist? Why not focus on a bigger project? Maybe something that takes a little more time than something like what I'm doing right now, for instance. I mean, this whole video process right now that you're watching probably took about 6 to 8 hours to complete after I edit the audio, put some of the clips in front of here, and then, you know, add the description and links and etc. But these are just my thoughts, though. You got any of your own? Patreon, $2 a month if you want high resolution art and early episodes. Art Pal for prints or for sale. Twitch, CraftyAndy Live. I'm generally live at least Mondays and Fridays currently. And once I reach affiliate status, that's going to change. Probably extend it out to the rest of the weekend. And there's also the Weird Source channel for other types of content. Furries, commentary, that sort of thing. If you can handle it, I dare you to subscribe to it. I dare you. Also subscribe here and like this and share. Bye.
She suffered, as far as I understand it, the greatest percentage lost of subscribers of any cancellation ever. So, wow, Mom.
Yeah,
that's
really.
So I will say she started at like 600,000 or something, and she's down. This is unbelievable. She's down now to 350. So you're looking at almost 50% sub loss.